Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I want to go over something that's going to be really important if you're in business for yourself, or if you're starting your own photography company, or if you just started one recently, or maybe you started one 5 years ago. This is going to be probably the number one rule that you should go by. So let's get started. As many of you know, I've been doing photography for over 40 years. And the one thing I learned at a very early age was never, ever prejudge a client, no matter what. Sometimes, I remember having times where we had studios where we had big glass windows in the front, and your 3 o'clock appointment pulls up, and they're going to try to book a wedding, and they're in a car that's 30 years old, and they get out and their clothes are kind of ragged, and you start thinking, oh my God, they're not going to be able to afford any of my packages. I'm going to have to show them my smallest package, and then I probably have to give them a discount so they can afford that and set them up on payments for 5 years. And don't think that way. Do not prejudge your clients. And it's the same way if somebody pulls up in a brand new Mercedes and gets out in an Armani suit. Don't assume that they have a lot of money. They may just have a lot of debt. You can have a new Mercedes and new Armani suits and have a lot of debt and not have any money. You can also have a 30-year-old car and not be dressed that nice and have a lot of money because you don't have the payments and the overhead that this other person has. Now, I'll give you a few examples. We had a traveling photography company called Hollywood Creations for years. We went to people's homes. We were doing glamour shots. You guys remember glamour shots from the 90s. We were called Hollywood Creations, and we went to people's homes. We took makeup artists, wardrobe, photographies, background, everything. We took everything we needed. And there was a few places that we would go. Now, we're centered right near Atlanta, Georgia, and sometimes it'd be about an hour and a half drive to get to the house. I remember one time we pulled up at a house, and it looked like almost nobody might be living at that house, but there were cars in the front, and we go in, and wouldn't be your dream home, let's just say. I'm not saying it was dirty, nasty. I'm just saying it was, kind of run down. And I remember one of the photographers with me. He's like, I don't think we're going to make any money at this shoot. I'm like, shoot them just like you always would. Treat them just like you would anybody else. Treat them just the same. Give them the same everything as you would anybody, anywhere else. And you know what happened at that sale? We went back a week later to sell the pictures. I think they had 10 people at their party. And we pulled out, I believe at the time, this was early 90s, those 10 people, I think we pulled out almost $2,000 out of that place, and every single penny was in cash. Everybody was handing us $100 bills and $50 bills. And the photographer guy's like, I can't believe this. I'm like, see, you just can't prejudge people. You don't want to get into the habit of prejudging the client because you can't tell what's going on. You don't really know. You just can't judge somebody like that. There's a lot of reasons. My uncle at the time when I was a teenager, he owned a construction company. And he would go out, and he didn't work out in the construction field every day with everybody, but he did go out on different jobs, and sometimes, so he wore the construction outfit, and he was headed back from a day, and he was in Atlanta, and he passed a Porsche dealership, and he goes into the Porsche dealership, and, looking at a Porsche, and the salesman looks at him and says, do you really think you can afford a Porsche? Now, he owns the company. He didn't tell the guy that he owned the company, but he had his work clothes on. I'm sure he was dirty. They laid gas lines and stuff, so my uncle looked at him and said, well, I guess you're right, and he left. Well, what that salesman didn't know was not only could my uncle have bought the Porsche, he would have just paid cash for it, and if I had to put money on it, I would bet my uncle probably could have bought the entire Porsche dealership. But he prejudged my uncle and lost a sale. You just can't prejudge people. When somebody comes in, I use the top-down selling method. Some of you guys probably know what that is. If you don't know what it is and you want me to do a video on how to do top-down selling, let me know, and I'll be glad to make one for you guys. Real quick, give you an overview of what top-down selling is. It's, let's say you've got 5 wedding packages. You always start, when your client comes in that you have not judged yet, you have not judged this client that just came in, they sit down, you take your paper, your brochure, wherever you got your pictures, computer, wherever you're showing it, and you show them the highest package. Say it's $8,000 in so many hours. Well, when you design this package that 99% of people aren't going to buy that package. That package is just there to help your other packages. Bear with me. I'll try to get this explained good. So most everybody, 99.9% of people are going to turn that package down because it's just too much. So they get down to your second choice. Now you've got 5 packages, so we just showed them the top one. So now we're on the 4th highest. So, come down to it, and it's like $6,000. Now you're getting a little closer in the ballpark, and, there's a lot of people will buy that package. But then you get to the next package, you're right in the middle of the sweet spot. Now you say you're at $5,000. That is going to be your goal. Because when they see that, everything they're getting in the $5,000 package, and they think, well, this is $3,000 cheaper than that other one, suddenly that $5,000 package looks a lot less expensive because you've just been comparing an $8,000 and a $6,000 package to it. So now you've got the $5,000 presented, which is, probably your goal. You need to have goals with your company. And now they like it because of how you placed it in your top-down sales. So now you've got them. If they don't want the $5,000 or can't quite afford that, by the time you get to your next package, let's say it's $3,800. By the time they see $3,800, they just feel like you're giving it to them by then. So you're going to either sell on that 3rd highest, 2nd or 3rd package. You're going to sell. It's around $3,800 to $5,000 because you started at $8,000 and worked your way down. It works. I've done it for years. I've taught many people how to do it, and it doesn't matter what you're selling. If you're selling wedding packages, whatever you're selling, even if it's not photography, anything that you're doing in sales, you're probably familiar with the top down if you're doing a lot of sales. But that's what we always use, and that's what always worked. But back to treating your clients. Again, now you can also have the opposite effect. Somebody pulls up in a brand new Mercedes and hops out like an Armani suit, like I said earlier. They may come in and go, okay, they want the special treatment. They want to feel special, okay? Because they got the new Mercedes and the new Armani suit. So I'm like, yeah, that $8,000 one sounds good. Can you set me up on payments? Well, here's what's going to happen on a lot of times with this. Not every time, okay, but a lot. You're going to find the people that you see, oh man, look at that brand new Mercedes and look at that Armani suit. This guy's got money. Well, what this guy has is a lot of debt, more than likely, not every time. He's got a lot of debt. That's why he wants you to put him onto payments. And you're going to find when you put him on payments, they're going to be late. There's always going to be a reason. Check gets lost in the mail. My accountant messed up, blah, blah, blah. It just never ends with the excuses. So treat everybody the same. And if you do set people up on payments and there's a late fee, enforce your late fee. If you don't enforce your late fee, people are going to walk all over you. So it's just very important for your business, especially for you guys that are just getting started into the business. And even you guys have been going a while, you probably know this, but just never prejudge that client. Treat everybody exactly the same when they walk in that door. It doesn't matter what color they are. It doesn't matter what kind of car they're driving. It doesn't matter what kind of clothes they're wearing. Everybody gets treated the same. When you do their pictures, you're going to work just as hard for them as you do for anybody else. Going through on the top down, start everybody at the top package and work your way down. You'll be amazed at how things will change when you take that attitude. When you start going with that top down sales method and not prejudging your clients, it'll just change everything for you. It's absolutely amazing. I don't know how to explain it. I remember when it was first explained to me as I was a teenager. And I thought, yeah, I guess that's a pretty good idea. And it's right after I learned that, my sales went through the roof. I've had people tell me, and I won a lot of awards at sales when I was working. There were a few times in my life where I was working for other companies or had a contract to work for them. And most all of them were like, you're always our top salesman. And that's what I just treat everybody the same. Treat everybody the same and use that top-down selling method, and you're going to be good to go. You still have to provide the good service for everybody and the good pictures, but that's what gets you started. Hey guys, I just want to take this second of your time. If you guys would please hit like and subscribe, it would go a long ways toward helping our channel and help us keep making these videos. Thank you. Just because somebody walks in the door and they're not dressed in top-of-the-line clothes, as you would say, don't assume they're poor. They probably got more money in the bank than you do because they're not out wasting money on clothes. And don't assume somebody's rich because they pull up in a brand new Mercedes. They got good credit and they bought a car. Now they got a high car payment. So, just treat everybody the same. It doesn't matter. If somebody Ubers to your place, and treat them the same, and it will work out every time for you. I guarantee you. People will like you because people tend to judge, and they're going to get judged in other places. So they might have already been to 3 or 4 places where somebody looked at them, somebody did them like that salesman did my uncle, kind of looked down at him and said, can you afford this Porsche? Well, he can, but he didn't treat him right, so he left. So You can build clients and build a lifelong client just by treating everybody the same. That's really simple. I know that sounds simple, but it's so important to do. Like I said, I'll recap it real quick. Treat everybody the same. Don't prejudge. Don't assume they're rich. Don't assume they're poor. You give them the same treatment, the same type photo session as everybody that walks through the door. They get the same thing. Anyway, my email is at the bottom. If you guys have any questions, just leave them down at the bottom, or you can send me an email and I will return the email as soon as I can. If we are helping you guys out, give us that big thumbs up and hit subscribe. Y'all have a good day. Thanks.